Hi everyone, my name is Rocio Molina. I'm a business consultant with the Minority Business Development Agency. We are based in San Jose, but we service all of Northern California, and our headquarters are located in San Francisco with Asian Inc. They are our operator and provide us a lot of support, including connecting us with Comerica, who has been super supportive of our endeavors to support small businesses during these times. We'll have one of the representatives, Sonia, join us a little further along so that they can tell you a little bit about their programming as well. We're also joined by Raymond. Raymond, would you like to say a couple words?
Yeah, so my name is Raymond Aoyong. I'm retired from the Minority Business Development Agency now, but I've been the project director for the San Jose office for the past 10 years. And during those past 10 years, I've done a lot of small business loans. I have a lot of small business clients. So today I would like to share my experiences with you with regards to how to get a loan or with regards to interpreting your credit scores. So.
So this is one of a series of webinars that we've done around this topic of how to set up your business for financial success, particularly in finance. So today we're going to be taking a little bit of a deeper look into credit management, how to build your business identity and associate your credit there. And then Raymond can expand a little more on how that can help you finance your business goals. So it seems like we have been joined by Sonia. Sonia, is that you?
Yes, it's me. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Sonia. Would you like to say a few words on behalf of
Yeah, I'm so sorry, everyone. I was having technical difficulties logging in. But good morning. This is Sonia Track. I'm the External Affairs Market Manager for Northern California. I want to thank our Southern California Market Manager on the call, David Betancourt, for coordinating this training series in partnership with Asian Inc. We have been a proud supporter of Asian Inc. since at least 2009. The heart and soul that they pour into our communities is just phenomenal, to say the least. At Comerica, we are committed to delivering on our promise, which is to raise expectations of what a bank can be in the community. As we are primarily a business bank, our goal is to provide tools and resources to our small business community to help them continue to thrive. So we're very happy to be here. I hope everybody, has a lot of great takeaways from this session, and I look forward to listening in. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Sonia. So yeah, as Sonia mentioned, we provide a lot of support for small business clients so that you are prepared with all of the tools you need to walk into Comerica or any other finance institution prepared, for success in your application process. So we try to illuminate all of the different steps so that you know what to expect and are prepared to get a yes on your loan application and are prepared, to utilize that in your business. So I have a presentation here to kind of dive a little deeper into our services and into how we can help you achieve these goals. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free to use the chat or the Q&A tools in your Zoom window. So as I've mentioned, hi, my name is Rocio Molina. You can find me on LinkedIn. The Minority Business Development Agency is funded by various government programs, including federal programs through the Department of Commerce and California programs that are intended to support small business enterprises and businesses where the majority owners are people of color. That does not mean we exclude other businesses from our services. It just means that that is the primary focus of our services. All of our services are completely free thanks to this programming. And in 2017, we were able to connect small businesses with an immense amount of financing, capital investments, really a variety of packages. So it really depends on what your business is looking for. This is a little overview of the different steps and services that we can provide. Today, we're going to mostly be talking about access to capital through finance applications, but we also provide these other services. And today, you're a part of one of our education and training programs. So our clients, as I've mentioned, are supported individually. So you come in to one of us and say, hey, like I need X amount of money for this project. Where can I go to get it? What are the terms? And then that's when we start troubleshooting with you on next steps. Finance services in specific means that we will connect you to a lender entity whose programs will support your goals and your business where you are. Obviously, if you walk into a big bank, they have a certain rubrics for financing. But if you walk into a community bank, or if you walk into a credit union or a CDFI, those can have different rubrics. And so that we go through that analysis with you to identify the right partner for you where you are. This can also be, there's federal funders, there's state funders. We do all of that digging and connect clients with the appropriate services. And then we help you with the loan packaging as well. So we'll take a look at your documents. If you are looking for a finance opportunity that requires a business proposal, we will help you draft that. We won't actually write it for you. I think that's where we draw the line, but we will edit and give advice along the way. And so we will do a credit overview, meaning that we will ask you, do you have loans already? What is your debt burden so far? What is your revenue and your income so far? Things like that, so that we can do a transparent analysis of how much more financing you can take on and still turn a profit, right? So then we dig into your profit and loss analysis, all of that, because we want to set you up for success. And that means making sure that whatever debt you do take on is within your capabilities. So there's different lending types, and we are going to dig into a little bit more of how to set yourself up for your credit review with the lender. I just wanted to overview the different options before we dig into the technicalities a little bit more. So there are startup loans. These loans are more lenient, and they can come from traditional banking institutions, or they can come from CDFIs, or they can come from an iBank lender. It really depends. But the thing with these is that the interest rate is a little higher. With a startup business, the risk is greater. And they may take collateral. The terms of these startup loans really depends on the program, and really depends on what you're comfortable with. So if you do want to provide collateral, there's opportunities for that as well. And then there's the SBA loans and the more conventional loans. Of course, they have a more favorable interest rate, but they have really strict credit rules. And they require, I believe most traditional banking institutions require at least 2 years of business history. So a lot of the times what we might do with a client is set them up for a startup loan, assess the repayments with them, assess how much profit they need to make in order to make that repayments. And then after 2 years, or once that 2-year mark is hit, maybe they would be more interested in switching to a conventional loan, or using a conventional loan for their next business goal. So when we take on a new client and start through this process with them, we really make a commitment to see where your goals are and get you there. Whether that means starting at a startup phase at a CDFI or connecting you with a more traditional bank. And a lot of the times those things go hand in hand. So next steps. Raymond, I'm going to switch to a video that's going to talk a little bit more about business identities. Before I move on, is there anything that you wanted to add?
I think, we can ask some questions, but I think go ahead with the video and then we can take it from there.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and watch a video that's going to talk a little bit more about how to set up your business entity so that you can go in for a credit review with a banking institution. And if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to use the tools. Here we go.
In today's show, I'm going to walk you through literally from the idea of starting a business, what you need to do, where you need to go to get set up, all the way through to getting cash credit, to getting fleet credit. So some of this in the early stage, I'm going to go through somewhat quickly because I know a lot of you on the call already are established. You already have it in these set up. You already have some of these things set up. But I still think it's good information for you to make sure you've done it the right way. So many people come to us and have set up their bank account, their licensing, their
So again, this is a video that we're watching on YouTube. So of course, if you have any of these questions, feel free to contact us.
website, all these types of things the wrong way, and then we have to go backwards. Whereas now you're going to know the right way to do it all, to go all the way from the inception of your business through the actual process of getting cash and fleet credit. So the very first step with getting set up with Dun & Bradstreet is before you even do this, you have to set up your entity. Now you can build credit with D&B with any entity, so it doesn't matter if you're a sole proprietorship, it doesn't matter if you are a corporation, an LLC, any entity you choose, you can go through with D&B and follow the steps I'm about to outline. But it is important to note that only a corporation or an LLC really reduce your personal liability. If you're a partnership, if you're a sole proprietorship, you're still personally liable for what happens in your actual business. So that's important to know because, again, and hopefully everybody, let me just make sure here before I actually go any further. I want to make sure everybody can actually, on my call, see the screen. So make sure, go ahead and type in the chat real quick and just let me know if you're here on the line. If you don't mind, and hello, Percy. Hey, cool, Nathan. Thank you very much. All right, so corporation or LLC is where you go to eliminate, or not eliminate, but really reduce the liability. If you're a sole proprietor, if you're a partnership, you're going to be personally liable for what happens to your business. So why that is because you are the business, which means you and the business are looked at as one and the same. So if your business defaults on a credit card, you are personally liable. They'll come after your bank account, your bank assets. So if you don't want that, you want to separate the liability between your business, you really should consider getting a corporation or LLC. Don't worry. If you're a sole proprietorship or partnership, you can always switch over to a corporation or LLC, but you really want to consider that even though you can build business credit with Dun & Bradstreet through any actual entity, it's still good to have the separation of liability. With these entities, you and the business are separate from each other, so it makes it easier for you to separate your liability, which is why you want to go with a corporation or an LLC. Now, you can set up your entity by visiting your Secretary of State website, okay, and you can search for the name you want to ensure it's not already taken, and then follow the steps to set up a new for-profit or nonprofit business. So you can go through LegalZoom. There's a lot of companies that will help you set up an entity, but I got to tell you, it's super easy. Okay, in Florida, we go through a site called sunbiz.org. It's ridiculously simple. It takes about 5 minutes to set up an entity and costs me like $60. Now, in California, it might cost $600 to set up a corporation. So the cost to set up the entity varies by state, but it's still much cheaper for you to go right to your Secretary of State website to do this versus actually going through any other service that you have to pay. Fees vary by state, but the setup process usually only takes about 15 more minutes to complete. And this is a website you want to write down because I just created this actually last week for when I thought about doing this webinar. And the reason I did this is because I don't know why it took me so long to do this. So many people ask me, how do I set up my entity? How do I do all these things that we're going to talk about during today's show? And I thought, well, you know what? How do I get listed with 411? How do I do this? Secretary of State website, if you know that address, or Google that address. So the next thing you want to do is you want to visit your IRS website to get your employer identification number, your EIN number. Now, do not pay for this EIN number. It's totally free. You don't have to pay for the EIN. We already talked about your entity setup. That's going to vary based on your state, but your EIN doesn't cost you anything. There are companies who try to look official and help you get your EIN, but at the end of the process, they'll charge you a fee, and you don't need to pay for your EIN. So never feel like you go to a website that looks like it's irs.gov. irs.gov is the only place you go to get your EIN for free. If you go anywhere else that looks like an official government website, they'll charge you at the end of the process. You should never have to pay for that. Here's an example. And again, I'm not trying to say this is a bad company or not, but when I searched how to set up my EIN, then this is a page that came up, ein-gov.us. It looks official, but this is actually a company that would charge me to set up my EIN. So this is kind of even what this will look like on a Google search. So you don't want to go through a company that's going to charge you for your EIN. Instead, you want to make sure that you go through irs.gov where it actually costs you nothing to get set up. And again, I set a link up where you can go right to get your EIN on that creditsuite.com/setup-your-business, where you can click once and it takes you right to the page where EIN, so you don't have to get lost and go to a company that may charge you. Now, your next step is to actually set up your DMV DUNS number. And sorry, that all came up at once. So the next step in the process is you want to set up your DUNS number. Now, this can also be obtained for free from Dun & Bradstreet directly, or again, you could use that shortcut, creditsuite.com/setup-your-business. Now, I have no affiliation at all with Dun & Bradstreet, and so it makes no difference if you go to our website to click to get to their link or go to them directly. All I did was on this page just put a link, a shortcut link, where you can go right into Dun & Bradstreet's website to set up your DUNS number. Now, the DUNS number, again, is that data universal numbering system we talked about. It's a business identifier code provided by Dun & Bradstreet. This is different than the EIN. Your EIN is how our government in the United States recognizes your business. It's kind of like your social. Your social security number is how our government recognizes you as an individual in this country, and your EIN number is how our government, the IRS, recognize your business in this country. The DUNS number is a universal number. So companies in Australia use this number. Companies in the United States, the United Nations, this is used all over the world. It's not what your business credit's linked to, but it's required to even get started with building your business credit with Dun & Bradstreet. So the DUNS number is a 9-digit number issued by DMV, and it's assigned to every business location in their database that has a unique, separate, distinct operation. So what this means is it means you don't ever want to go into an office. Somebody asked me the other day, said, I work out of a shared space where there's a bunch of us that work in one space. Well, does that create a problem? I said, absolutely it creates a problem, because your DUNS number and your credit profile is often linked to your business address. So if you have 15 businesses at the same address, your guys' credit information can easily get mixed up with each other. So then he took the step with working with the post office to get separate unit numbers within their location, and that would work. You've got to make sure that you're using a unique address just for your business to get your DUNS number set up, because they will often merge your information, or it's possible to merge your information with another company's information if you try to use an address that's already occupied somebody else. Every business must first have a DUNS number before DMV will assign you a PAYDEX score. We'll talk more about the PAYDEX score, but if you want a business credit score with DMV, then what will happen is you will need to make sure that you have the DUNS number set up before you do that. Okay, the DUNS number is the preferred method worldwide, again, as I mentioned, for identifying a business. Okay, this isn't like the EIN that has to do with only in the United States, and it's also used by a lot of foreign governments, Australia, European Commission, even the United Nations. There's about 50 global industry and trade associations that recognize and recommend the DUNS. So again, you just need to know this DUNS number is a worldwide identifier for your number. You've got to do it as one of the initial steps to get set up with Dun & Bradstreet. Now, some important notes. When you actually start applying for credit, as we'll get into here in the future a little bit as we get further into the show, well, then you've got to consider using some kind of business address or virtual address. You can't use a home address. You can't use a UPS account. May also require that you provide your actual social to get set up. Another question I'm asked, because again, what I'm going to teach you today is how to get business credit without using your social security number on the application. So a lot of people say, okay, that's fantastic. And they take the initial step of setting up their bank account, and their bank actually requires their social. That's okay. Your bank might require actual social, and it's okay if they.
All right, we'll stop it right there. I know that was a lot of information. I'm definitely going to break it down for you. I just wanted to kind of give you a speedy overview of the intensive process that goes into setting up your business for credit review, and how it could be beneficial to contact us so that we can help you along the way. As he mentioned, there are a number of organizations that will offer services to help you with the various steps of this process, but some of them may charge for that service. We do not charge for any of our services. If we tell you about fees, it's usually one of these fees to submit your paperwork for your EIN or anything like that along the way. Us, the way that we measure our success is whenever one of you receives a loan from a bank, we just want the information directly from you or your banker for our records so that we can get that magic number at the end of the year of how much access to capital we've provided our clients. So that's also a benefit of just picking up the phone and giving us a call, is that you don't have to worry at all about us associating any fees with any of the support that we give you. So let's go back to our presentation and talk about next steps. I know some of them came up in the video we just talked about. So as the client, and by that I mean the business, you know, he talked about deciding on a business entity, right? Many of you might be sole proprietors or might just be doing business under your own Social Security. Some of you might already be LLCs. While we don't necessarily decide for you or tell you what to do as far as what kind of entity to be, we can definitely troubleshoot through the options, the pros and cons of each of the identities. We can also connect you with a legal vendor who we trust to deal with small business clients, who can give you more in-depth legal analysis into the benefits of an entity. The DUNS number, that is a database that you would have to register for. As he mentioned, you need a physical address for your business, but he spent a lot of time on that portion because the DUNS number will help identify your business as you expand your finance access. And of course the EIN. So these are different numbers and different categories to identify you. There's more depending on the industry that you are in that you can definitely associate with your business, and that will help keep track of your credit score along the way. But these are the basics of how to start tracking your credit and associating invoices and things like that to your credit score would entail connecting all of those transactions to your DUNS. Does anyone have any questions so far? I know that was super intensive. Raymond, do you have anything to say? Have you, for example, have you gone through and reviewed DUNS numbers with clients before? Like, have you had to go into that database?
Not a lot per se, except those that are bidding for contracts.
Mm-hmm.
But for those who are applying for a business loan, not so much. So it depends on you know what the borrower needs actually when it comes to access to capital. So.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So then from that point, you know, the lender would take a look at that credit history and analyze your debt to income ratio. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky, right? You, the person, you have your own financial commitments, your own finance commitments, and your own credit score. If you've gone through the steps of setting up an LLC and a corporation with separate DUNS and EIN numbers, then the lender would be able to look at the debt to income ratio for the business. right? So that's a little bit where things start to split up. And so the lender would then take a look at that history, usually at least 2 years, and analyze your, whether or not you will be financed based on their rubrics. These are just a couple of the things that they might look at: your character and fitness, your P&L, your credit score, and your debt to income ratio. But every banking entity has their own rubrics. Some we know, some we might not know. The benefit of us having a relationship and staying in communication and in contact with lenders is that a lot of time we might know the rubrics ahead of time, and so we can help you set up your loan application package with the knowledge that those are the requirements, and hopefully you won't have to do a whole bunch of back and forth with the lending entity. Right, Raymond? Do you see that as a huge benefit of coming to us first?
Of course, the thing is that, if you go directly to the lender, you are not prepared to answer a lot of questions that they might have in mind. So for instance, example, if you were to go into the lender and they just ask you simple questions like how much do you want to borrow, you have to be prepared to know what's the figure, number one, and then you have to justify as to why and how you came up with that figure and how you're going to repay that figure. So it's a whole entire package of being ready and being proactive so that you are prepared ahead of time, and then we can coach you as to what are the kinds of questions that your lender are going to ask you, so that they want to know that you did your homework before going to the bank. You cannot just say, I just need a loan because of COVID-19, So
Yeah.
the question is that, will you prepare, what's the game plan? So they look at, the 5 C's of lending that I can go through in depth, step by step on every C further down the road.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I think to expand on that a little bit, the lenders themselves, it is their business to lend. They want viable, successful businesses to bring their lending needs to the bank. So when they talk to a client and they say, oh, well, you need this, this, and this, a lot of the times clients walk away and never come back. That is a loss in business from their perspective, and they want to lend. So that's where our partnership comes in, because, to use Comerica as an example, right? I'm sure they see people all the time that want funding, that they want to fund, but maybe don't have all of these documents and numbers together. So a couple of meetings with either Raymond or myself could take care of that.
Right. I just want to add that, from David's point of view, the banker's point of view, they do not make much money with your deposits. The interest rate is small and all that. It's the loans that they make the money. So when the borrowers say that banks are not lending, that's not the right answer. Banks will lend, but you have to be qualified in order for them to lend. So that's where we come in to help you qualify so that the bank can loan you the money.
Exactly. And like I mentioned, our services are free. We work for the government to support small businesses and minority-owned businesses to have access to these opportunities, because a lot of the time it usually just takes, a second set of eyes to look at some of these documents, or to just be an encouraging ear along the way. Definitely. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? So right now with COVID-19 and the way everything is going on, we have moved to remote consulting. So we are still here. We are still taking calls and answering questions. We're hosting online webinars and workshops just like this one. We're helping with loan packaging and assistance, which has been the main topic of today's conversation. And we can refer you to trusted partners who we know either you are qualified for, or it might just be a couple of easy fixes to get you across that line. So yeah, so I think that is everything for my presentation. This is my email. I'll leave this on the screen for a couple seconds in case anyone wants to jot that down. We will also be sharing this and our contact information with all of the attendees for today. This has been recorded and will also be uploaded to our website for your reference in the future. So you're always welcome to reference the presentations or to reach out to us if you want the specific slides as well. Raymond, did you want to talk to them about the 5 C's or anything else before?
Yeah, I think I'll go more in depth on the criteria of the 5 C's because most lenders look at the 5 C's of lending.
Yes.
The first C is credit, and that's what our major topic for today is. So that's the first credit before they move on to other C's is credit. Rule of thumb, depending on different financial institution, and David, you can mention for your core America, I would say about a credit score of 700 or more would be the rule of thumb. But like I say, that's just a general rule, but there are also always exceptions to the general rule. I've done loans for my clients that, you know, like Rokia was saying, some financial institutions like nonprofits, CDIFs, they are more lenient on the credit score, but the trade-off is that you have to pay a higher interest rate. Credit is very important because it paints a picture to the lender as to how your paying habits, your character is, you know, whether you are living within your means or not, it tells them. So if you are saying that, you know, historically, if your credit score is bad, and then now you're bad because of the COVID-19, that story is not going to fly. So, as opposed to, you know, historically, your credit score is good, and then because of certain unforeseeable reasons, and I've done deals where some clients have a bad credit score, but there are exceptions that we can write letters to the lender explaining, is it because of a medical reason, you know, that caused the credit score to go down, or like the real estate crisis, one-time bad investment during the 2008, where there were a lot of foreclosures and short sales, or as a result of divorce or whatever. So there are always exemptions to the rules. That's why it's so important that you meet with one of our consultants to discuss, okay? So credit score is one thing. The second C will be, I would say, capital. If you are trying to start a business, that's the next C. So most lenders will expect you to commit some of your own money savings to start a business or to borrow a loan. Even for SBA startup loans, the rule of thumb is a third. So you come up with 1/3 and you get to borrow 2/3 for your business loan to start the business. However, like there are some exceptions, like if it's a SBA 504 for real estate for an existing business, then you can come up with either 10 or 15%. So if you want to start a business, make sure you save some money, some of your own money, you know, to show commitment to the part of the lender that you are committed to the business if you want to start a business, okay? And again, this is just rule of thumb. I've done startup loans with less capital invested, and capital can not necessarily be in the form of cash. It can be equity capital. So if you have a purchase stuff like equipment, office equipment, stuff like that, you keep your receipts to show your commitment, your capital that's been invested in the startup business. So that's the capital part, okay? Third is collateral. So if you own a home, then the SBA will need, you know, the collateral, if there's equity in your collateral for the business. So you cannot tell a lender and say that, hey, you know, I want to get an SBA loan. I have a house with lots of equity, but guess what? You know, I'm not going to use my house as collateral for a loan. That's not going to fly. So unless there's no equity in your home, the SBA will take collateral. That's just assurance on their part. Okay, and then the third C will be the character of the person. So if you are starting a business, it always helps if you have experience in the business. It's, because it's a startup business, so if you do not have experience in the business, it'll be more difficult for you, you know. So let's say you're a school teacher and say you want to open a restaurant, as opposed to you have always been a chef or you're a chiropractor and you want to start a chiropractor business. So your historical experience is like your business resume is very important for the C. And the last C for lending is your capacity to repay the loan. So that's why we mentioned earlier, you need to sit down with one of our consultants to find out, you know, as to how much you want to borrow, you know. What's your game plan, especially now with COVID-19, you know? So what adjustments have you made to your business? Why do you need, okay, if you say that, okay, I need to reopen my business, I need so much money, but what's the game plan? Have you take, you know, payroll cuts, you know, you have re-strategize your business, you know, stuff like that. So, and that's where you come in to whether the business cash flow can support. So whether you want to go for a 5-year term, 7-year term, 10-year term, it depends. That's where you sit down and we discuss your financial projections with assumptions as to come up with those numbers. So let's say you've been doing 1 million in revenue. Right now with COVID-19, you know, you can only make 300,000, but you still need a loan. So with 300,000, how are you going to scale back your operations for your capacity to repay the loan? So that's in a nutshell the 5 C's of lending that most lenders look at. And other things, of course, they will look at the package that you have an existing relationship with the lender. You know, so the thing is that being a business person, a business is dynamic. So you have to constantly be aware of what are the changes in the legal, economic sense, and always have cash reserves. You know, if you are in construction, you should always have a business line of credit, because the rule of thumb, you need to be bonded to bid for projects. And the rule of thumb for bonding is that if you have a line of credit of 100,000, you may qualify for $1 million bonding. So the more line of credit that you have will qualify you for a higher bond and to bid for bigger projects. So everything is important. It's a whole package. It's not like just wake up one day and say you want to start a business. So you have constantly be prepared as to what you want to do. Treat your business as a going concern. That's what I would tell my borrowers. And we've done all kinds of cases. Right now, who knows, like for one time, I mean, historically, you know, dentists were like the best profession that all lenders want. Now with COVID-19, there's no revenue even for dentists. So what's the game plan? So these are the things that, you know, talk to a consultant and, you know, be aware, be ready to be proactive to make adjustments to your business. And
Definitely.
that's all I have, and open up for questions, you know, that you have. I can share my experiences.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for that, Raymond. I think, you know, Raymond has been doing this with our organization for a long time. He's definitely one of the experts that we have in the group when it comes to financing your business goals. And definitely suggest that, you know, you take a long view, right, at your goals. Like I said, and like we said, it might take a couple of years to really set yourself up for a large amount of financing, because they do look at your business history. But that's what we're here for, is to make that plan with you and to ensure that you do have a plan in place.
Yeah.
Sonia, David, did you guys want to add anything from the Comerica side of things or from the lender side of things? Okay. Okay. I think.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Sonia, I think you're on mute. No, I was just really good information. I think, you know, right now it's just a really interesting time. So just anything that, you know, any type of resources that small businesses can take advantage of right now, I mean, it's extremely helpful. I know, you know, with the PPP application, that was supposed to cover, you know, about 2 months of expenses. And now it looks like, you know, we took a step backwards. So now it's, you know, what do we have to look for in the future now? What other resources are going to be out there? So I really, you know, really enjoyed this training. I think this is a lot of really good beneficial information. And Raymond, with your personal experience, that was really helpful just to hear, you know, firsthand the types of experiences that you've had. So thank you, really, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, David. Okay, great. And I think another thing that we've heard from lenders because of COVID is that they change every day, right? Sometimes lenders might be saying that they are making financing available. Other days, maybe their financing package offerings have shrunk and they're giving out limited financing. Maybe they're only doing lines of credit. It just kind of depends on a case-by-case basis, but that's the digging that we can help with, so that you know all of that information beforehand. So yeah, we're all just trying to gather as much information as possible to get us and our clients through this time. And if you need any support applying for loans or even analyzing whether that's a good choice for you, please feel free to contact myself or Raymond. We've really enjoyed speaking with you today. Thank you so much, Sonia and David, for joining us. We really appreciate you guys putting in the extra effort to reach out to small business clients and to you know, assure them that there is still space for them in this industry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that, I will leave you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email myself or Raymond. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care.